Hello guys, welcome to today's class. Today we're gonna start with a grammar topic that, as you can see, is called present perfect, simple and progressive. Alright, let's see. Before we explain this topic, let's do the first exercise. That says, look at the table based on information from the podcast on page 84. Which facts, 1, 2, or 3, describe how long each activity has continued? So we have these three facts: past facts, present facts, and present perfect facts. Which of these describe how long each activity has continued? Very good, the number 3. Because if we see in the number 1, the past facts, it says in 2004, 6 months ago. This doesn't describe how long, this describes when happened in past. Then here we're just mentioning now. But here we are mentioning how long the activity has continued. For example, in the number 1 we have since 2004. So we know that we are in 2020. So from this moment until this moment there has been a period of time. So they're describing us how long the activity has continued. Alright? In the next example, it says that he's been working in a dive center for 6 months. 6 months ago was October, and we are in April. So we know that in this period of time, there have been 6 months. So we know how long the activity has continued. Okay? Now, why is this so important? Because today's topic is about the present perfect, but we already saw the present perfect simple. Now we're gonna see the present perfect progressive, alright? In order to do so, let's take a little explanation about the differences of these two present perfect tenses. The present perfect that we already know is the one that we use to talk about completed actions in time up to now. For example, the band has recorded 6 albums by these years. Okay, so by this year up to now, they have done this. Okay, so we already finished this action by this time. But when we use the present perfect progressive, we use it to describe the duration of a continuous action from a point in the past up to now. For example, the van has been traveling around the world for 8 months. So we are describing that duration for 8 months. And as you can see, we're using the past perfect progressive. Has been traveling. Right? This action is continuous because they travel to one place, then they travel to another and to another. So this is a continuous action. Right? And something very important to mention with these two different structures is that there are some verbs that you cannot use in the present perfect progressive, which are these: the verb be, the verb know, the verb have, the verb want, and actually any of the stative verbs can be used in the present perfect progressive. Alright? Remember, we saw the stative and dynamic verbs some classes ago. If you don't remember, check your book in the previous pages so that you can see which are the stative verbs, because these verbs cannot be used in the present perfect progressive. Alright? So now that we have seen the differences between the present perfect and the present perfect progressive, we're gonna see how to write these sentences. First, let's take a look to the affirmative sentences. For this, we're just gonna need has or have, then the verb been. This verb, it's always gonna be there, been, and the next verb must be in ing. Alright? For example, I have been studying a lot. We have the verb been, and the next verb is in ing. Then, in the negative tense, it's gonna be very similar, only that instead of has or have, you're gonna use hasn't or haven't. And then again, you have the verb in and the verb in ing. So this is always for the present perfect progressive. An example of this could be, he hasn't been doing his homework. Right? We have has in negative, then the verb been, and the next verb in ing. Finally, we have the interrogative form. That is similar to the affirmative form, only that first we're gonna start the sentence with has or have, then the subject, and then the verb in, and the verb in ing. As you can see, the verb in and the verb in ing is present in all the present perfect progressive sentences. So this is something that you will always have. An example of this could be these questions. Have you been watching the movie? So we have, then the subject, been, and a verb in ing. Alright, and this is how you write sentences in present perfect progressive. As you can see, it's very, very easy. Alright, so if there are no questions, let's continue with the exercise number 2 that says, underline the verbs be and work in column 3 of the table. Discuss the questions with a partner. Okay, so let's underline the verb be in the column 3. Here it is. Very good. And the verb work in the column 3. Here it is. Working. Now, which verb describes a state? Being or working? A state. Remember, the opposite of state is an action. Which verb describes a state? That's right, being. Then, is it the simple or progressive form of the present perfect? Over here is the simple form. Very good. Then, which verb describes a continuous or repeated action? If it is not being, it will be working. That's right. Is it in simple or progressive form of the present perfect? As we already saw, we have the verb has, he has, then been, and then a verb in ing, working. So it is present perfect progressive. Very good. Now, let's continue with the exercise number 3 that says, complete these sentences with the simple or progressive form of the present perfect. So what you're gonna do here is that we have these verbs and you're gonna change them to present perfect, but you have two options. You can do it in the simple form or in the progressive form. How do you know what's the difference? Remember, there are some verbs that cannot be used in progressive, like the one letter B. So you cannot say I have been being in this particular class since September. No, in this occasion it will be I have been, and that's it. Then in the letter A they already give us the answer. I study will be I have been studying English for about 2 years. Alright? So do this exercise, and when you finish I'm gonna show you the answers. Alright, here are the answers. Pay attention. Here they are. Alright, check your answers. As you can see, like we have the verb be, know, have, and want. This cannot be used in progressive form. That's why they are in simple form. But the verb being using, it can be used in progressive. That's why it is like this. Very good. Now, moving on, we have this exercise. Change the time expressions if necessary so that the sentences are all true for you. So you're gonna change the time expressions, all right? For about 2 years, since September, for a few months. So you're gonna copy in your notebook these sentences, but you're gonna change this. For example, in the number 1, we have, I have had this textbook since I started the course. So your book, your English book, for how long have you had it? You can say, I have had this textbook since January, since February, depending on when you bought it. So write the sentences, and when you finish, we'll continue. Alright, for the last exercise of this topic, we have find out how long your partner has been doing the things in exercise 3. Ask questions beginning how long. Alright, so what you're gonna do is that you're gonna change these sentences into questions. For example, in the number 1, I have been studying English for about 2 years. So you're not gonna say for about 2 years. You're gonna say how long have you been studying English? All the questions are gonna start with how long. Like in the letter C, how long have you known your English teacher? Alright, so these questions you're gonna call your classmates and you're gonna ask these questions to them. Okay, do it, and when you finish, we'll continue. Now, in the pronunciation topic, we have underline the two stress words in each line of the chants. So over here we have two chants, and in each line there is a stress word. You're gonna try to guess which word is the stressed one. Remember, stressed words are the ones which the sound is higher than the other words. Okay, so do it, and when you finish, I'm gonna play the audio so that you can check. All right, here goes the audio. Very important, you're gonna check and also please repeat the chants. Remember that as evidence, you're gonna have to record yourself singing these chants. So here it goes.
Track 24. A.
How long has she been cooking? How long has she been cleaning? How long has she been shopping? How long have you been sleeping?
B.
How long has he been reading? How long has he been playing? How long has he been eating? How long have you been waiting?
Well done. So let's take a look to the stress words. As you can see, they are these words. Excellent. All right, now moving on, we have the last topic of this unit, which is a speaking topic. Let's see, in the first exercise, it says, write the name of, and here we have 8 different categories that you have to write a name of this. For example, write the name of a cafe or bar you go to, a neighbor you know. A neighbor, remember guys, is the person who lives in the same street as you. It can be the person in the front of your house, the person who lives next to your house. A type of music you like, pop music, rock music. Okay, so you have to write the name of at least one of each of these categories. Do it. Very good. So what you're gonna do now in the exercise number 2 is that you're gonna use the underlined verbs in exercise 1 and write sentences to describe how long each activity has continued. For example, if there's a cafe that you go to called the Big Cafe, so you can say, I have been going to the Big Cafe for 2 years or since 2018. All right, like here, I've been going to the bar Ipanema since 2014. Or I've known my neighbor Max for 6 years. Or like in the letter F, that is a TV show. Imagine that you are watching a certain TV show and you can say, I've been watching this TV show since last year or for 6 months. All right. So you're going to write a total of 8 sentences and then you're going to call your classmates to tell them about those sentences. All right. Very good, guys. So that's gonna be it for today's class and for this week. Remember that this is the last unit of this partial, so you must study for the exam and deliver your portfolio and workbook on time. Okay? So see you later. Take care and goodbye.